The first episode of Critical Role's Campaign 4 is out, which means we get to talk about this now. Obviously, spoilers for anybody who hasn't actually seen it yet. There will definitely be spoilers in these recaps. I have Buttered Apple here, one of the artists from Cloaks and Capes. And this is your first time watching, like full-on watching, getting in from the beginning in actual play. So what did you think? What was your sort of expectations? I think a lot of people, a lot of people, have seen the Dimension 20 clips here and there, all the like little funny parts of it. But there's also not 13 people sitting at the table for Dimension 20, so this is kind of new for a lot of people. What did you think?
Um, well, I thought it was a lot at first because I'm used to shorter form stuff, so like an hour. So this was 4 hours of a lot of very great role play. So we got to laugh, cry, and a lot of drama. So it was very fun jumping into this big, long actual
Yeah,
play.
there's a few people who was doing a watch party with us, and in our Discord, it's also their first time getting into it since it's basically brand new. Doesn't have anything to do with any of the other Critical Role stuff. And there was a lot of people, and myself included, because again, this is the first episode, that felt confused kind of getting into it because there's just so much information. And
Hmm.
I like the comparison that Brennan had made in the cooldown episode, which Beacon members can sort of, get behind the scenes stuff, where he mentioned it's like the first few episodes of like The Wire or like shows like that, where like, yeah, as you first start, it does feel like a lot because there's a lot of information, a lot of like lore coming into
Hmm.
it. Was there any characters or any moments though that really kind of jumped out at you that you are sort of holding on to in anticipation that it's going to be something big, or that it might relate to something more in the future?
I think Julian's kind of, I don't know what you would call it, a red herring. Like, it seemed
Oh,
like some of the stuff, like, because you have like this back and forth. We have like, when we get introduced to the characters, it goes the flashback to the
yeah,
execution. And then Lord Julian's like one of the characters that you're like, he has a big problem with,
yeah.
yeah.
So you
What's
mean like when he mentioned the smile, and I guess I kind of did get this a little
it
bit
was the
too.
smile,
Obviously,
it
we
was the
understand that he didn't like Thrazi,
he didn't
so
yeah, he didn't like
he's
him.
happy that he's gone, but that does kind of give us the hint that like, oh, did he maybe have something to do with it
It's like
as well?
it's like they're trying to make us think that he has something to do with it, and then obviously the
Mm-hmm.
end when Belarus is talking to Ashley Johnson's character, what was her name?
Valus.
Valus.
You
Um
mean Bayless? Am I right?
yeah, definitely. Her entrance, I will say, left a big impression. That was amazing.
Mommy.
How they yeah. It's like the when Julian, and I'm forgetting her name. No.
Era
They're
Aranessa.
not
Oh, not
Aranessa,
Aranessa.
the orc,
Oh, Taisha.
Taisha, when they were
Bria's
having
character.
like
Yeah.
their talk outside, and then like there's a chill, and you're like, is it? They're like, oh, is it you? And
And
she's like, no,
then Night
it's not me.
Falls. That was a
Yeah,
hell of an entrance. I have to wonder if that was just something that Brennan put in there as like, it's your first entrance type deal. So like, let's make it a
yeah.
little. If she was doing something because she was making an entrance, or like, does that just wherever she goes, like it's always nighttime, because that
Hmm.
would be pretty badass, even at level 3, for the DM to just be like, hey, wherever you go, Twilight follows.
It's
Like
sick.
that would be so sick.
Yeah. So
Um,
those two things,
yeah,
like Julian and then Valus, right?
yes.
Um, those two things really stood out to me, and I was like, oh, we're gonna hone in on this.
So I
But of
think,
course, you don't get to that.
yeah, I think the things that stood out to me was, obviously there's more here than what we're all being led to
Hmm.
believe, right? They had a plan for Hal's brother to escape. Something went wrong, even though there was still magic there. Tior's brother wasn't where or doing what he should have done, so we don't know what that. So there's like a lot of little like mysteries to where like something's up, right? So obviously
Yeah.
we'll get that as we go on. But I think the where I'm more interested, or the thing that's piqued my curiosity the most is Sam and Whitney's characters and the Halavar family, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of weirdness there that I think is compounded by the fact a lot of people pointed this out. I didn't notice it in the moment, but a cleric's main stat is wisdom. That
Mm-hmm.
determines their spell save DC. That determines, their spell attack bonus, and depending on the subclass, it also determines how often you can use certain features. Sam's wisdom is 10. His charisma is 18. Warlocks and sorcerers use
So
charisma.
Sam.
Yeah,
That's such a Sam character.
and so there's a lot of theories going around on what it could mean. Some people are being like, "Oh, well, maybe he just uses charisma instead." Maybe. I also feel like that would be super boring if he was just like, "Oh, can I just use charisma instead?" Some people are
Mm-hmm.
like, could be a warlock, or maybe the plan is if he breaks away from his family, he then makes a deal with tyranny or with some other entity to become a warlock, because there's obviously going to be some sort of, like, I think, friction between him and
Yeah.
his family based on what he thought he could get them to do, and they were just like, nah, that dude's dying. um it's also, I would love to know more about the whole demon thing, because we see it's not just
Yeah.
tyranny, her brother enmity as well. And I think when we think of fantasy in general and, like, demons and religions, they're always a very opposed thing. And obviously we don't know a lot about the world yet, but I really love this idea that instead of it just being like, oh, demons, ew, everybody hates them, this idea that, like, demons, or maybe just tieflings, maybe not, we don't know if they're actually from, like, the hells
Yeah.
or not, but that these tiefling, like, people are something that that the church looks at is like, oh, you poor thing, let's, like, rehabilitate you and, like, make you blah 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 blah. And so they're, like, a little bit more accepted.
Yeah.
It just it Tyranny's my favorite character. I think her in Wick definitely were, like, the standout two for me, with, like, Taisha being a
Mm-hmm.
close second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those two definitely were. Whitney and Sam worked really well together. I think they were definitely a highlight. Um, I can't wait to see where that goes, but I didn't even think about their stats. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
The other one of the other theories, sorcerer, because sorcerer uses stats as well, or charisma as well. That was one of my guesses when I saw the character art. Is I thought he might be some sort of, like a divine soul sorcerer. So
Hmm.
maybe something happens where, his powers, rather than coming from a deity, because the gods are allegedly dead, or at least the
Hmm.
gods that they and we know of, but that divine power may still be there somewhere. And there's
Hmm.
still there's still just a lot we don't know about how the world itself works to know for sure. And if there's one thing Brennan's good at, all right, it's pulling the wool over your eyes and then having 3 or 4 more layers of wool ready to go.
Hmm.
So yeah, it could go in really so many different directions. Uh, you mentioned you cried. At what point did you
Oh,
cry?
what part did you cry at? Because
So there
there's a
were
lot of sad.
Yeah, there were 2 moments where I was in my feels. So I didn't actually cry, but had it
Hmm.
gone on, or if this would have been like episode 30, then, and I was more attached, then I probably would have. The
Hmm.
cold open was great.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So there were sort of moments in there when Hal's talking to his brother that I was definitely being jerked around a little bit. And then Laura fucking Bailey
Yes.
having that breakdown and the realization. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Laura, how she's able to
That.
just
Yeah.
push emotions like that through the screen at you. It was
Hmm.
incredible. It was
Nope.
incredible.
Same moments for me, and I was like, "Holy!" Well, you could tell they've been doing the work.
Yeah, they've been doing
They
the
know
work.
what.
They obviously have talent, and I can imagine if, like, what you're mostly used to seeing is just, like, the funny bits on
Yeah.
TikTok, and then you have this moment, the description
Mhm.
of, like, the broken wing not working and stuff like that, and it's just like,
Yeah, it's so
why are you doing
sad.
this to me?
Yeah, I remember from when you first play D&D, the emotional bits when you first are exposed to them are very kind of embarrassing. And then you get used
Yeah.
to them. But it's nice seeing this group of people that are so experienced. They have so much fun like role playing together, and then
Hmm.
they can go to that place and feel safe doing it.
Yeah.
So you could tell 100% that everyone in that group like had went to the they did it. Like they went to the depths of the emotions, and I cried at both those parts and at Aranessa.
Oh yeah, there were some great Aranessa spots as well.
Yeah.
The
She got like she's just like, "Don't tell me how I'm supposed to feel even out though I haven't seen the man that I love for years." Like it's like that's so
yes.
frustrating.
I'm gonna throw a few random predictions out there.
Yeah.
First of all, the Wix. I don't know if it was his mother or his grandmother that he was talking to in that flashback about like sparing Hal's brother. But
Mhm.
I was getting very who's the old lady from Game of Thrones, the tell what's his face that it was me, that lady,
Oh,
Queen of
yeah, I know.
Roses, I think she was called, or was like her
Yeah,
title.
of course I'm forgetting
Anyway,
now, but
we all know who she
yeah,
is. If,
yeah,
if you've seen Game of Thrones, so I was getting those type of vibes from her, but like more
yes.
evil. And then I feel like I don't know how long Aranessa is for the mortal plane. I don't know why I was just I don't have any like
You know what?
evidence. I have no evidence that I can point to, but I just I don't know. Maybe it was that like that sort of like rage towards the Halavar family that
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, oh girl, if you go up against the Hal, I don't know how that's going to turn out. And so I'm worried. I'm worried for
Yeah.
her
You
already.
know, regarding Aranessa, I kinda was like, does Julian kind of like a thing for her?
Oh,
Is there
I
like a
I think so.
forbidden romance
Yeah.
happening there?
Well, I don't know if it's like
'Cause what is his
a forbidden thing. I think that he is. I think he's probably always maybe had feelings for her, maybe like unrequited, and maybe he's given up. Maybe they are just friends. Maybe there was nothing romantic there even. But I definitely feel like the reason that he hated Hal's brothers so much was because I don't think that he looked at Hal. I think he looked at Hal and was like, "You don't deserve her, right? You're not treating her the way that she should be treated. You abandoned her." He looks at him as
Mhm,
basically being like, worthless. I'm glad you're gone. You were the worst thing that ever happened to her, type deal. Now, whether he feels like he could have done better or
mhm,
not, I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. Um, but yeah, really, really strong. I actually didn't hate Julian as much as I thought I would from the way that all of the like behind the scenes promo stuff was talking
mhm.
about him because while I don't agree with him, I understand where his feelings for Hal came from. Two other quick things that I wanted to touch on, and one of them I'm going to get your theory on what happened at the
Okay.
end there. Um, but there was a moment with Robbie's character, Catterick, or Cat. Oh, I can't. I forget exactly
We're
what
so
his
bad
first
at
name
names.
is, but Cat, the Ranger. Something that I really wish more players would do is he has this moment where he's talking about how in his mind's eye he paints this picture or he imagines when he was at the execution of like what if I just jumped up there, right? What if I could save him?
Mhm,
And it's like 30 45 seconds of him just narrating something that the other characters will never know. But and obviously this is an actual play, right? So you're doing it for the audience, you're doing it for the players. But I wish more players would do that at their table and be willing to step out of the character as the player and describe something to the table, even if you're not an actual play, describe something to the table as if they're an audience. Because even if you're not doing an actual play, you're still having a shared narrative experience with everyone.
mhm.
And by doing that, it gives you so many more opportunities and so many more tools to tell the story with people in the way that books and movies do that doesn't limit you to just being within your character. Have you ever tried to
Yeah.
do that like in a campaign before? I know that the most recent Mother's Jail was your first like true long-term finished campaign.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I did that in Mother's Jail more towards the end because I'm like, I'm not sure if I just like I am just my character.
Mm-hmm.
What other context do I give? And then towards the end, I helped like I would narrate more of the context of what Braley was thinking.
Yeah.
And I did that more for Varuna too in another campaign.
So then the other question where I think I want to end here is predictions. What do you think is gonna happen? Because at the end, like the this mask coming together, this like I think it was described as like a black mask. Uh, Obviously we don't have a whole lot of necessarily evidence to go off of. It's just vibes and stuff. But like my mind was going wild. What do you think is going to happen with that thing?
The mask?
Yeah, the way
I
that
could
Brendan
not tell you.
described it, because the fact that they set this at the funeral for Hal's brother,
Uh-huh.
everybody knows him, everybody has certain connections to him. I am going to go out of my mind, and this would be such an insane BBEG for Brendan to pull, given all their connections, if that mask races downstairs and attaches to the body and
No.
brings back Hal's brother. I don't think it would actually be him, but if it has access to his memories and his feelings, like
That would be
you want to
rough.
talk about emotional damage.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of like I really hope nothing happens to the body as the episode was happening. Cause I'm like, okay, well, they're at a wake, obviously. Um, but it's D&D, so anything could happen. And the whole time I'm like, can the
Yeah.
body just be, can this be awake? Can we be okay?
Laura was one roll away from dying
That's true.
before she even got a chance to really talk as her character. So
Yeah.
yeah, anything really can happen. Well, all right. That's it. We're gonna end it. We're gonna try to do these weekly. We're gonna keep them, somewhat short. So give us your theories in the comments. Let us know what you think, what your favorite parts were, and we'll see you next week.